Hi, it's Kelly O'Keefe, managing partner with Brand Federation. I'm here today with Rian Chandler-Dovis, another managing partner at Brand Federation. And we're here today to talk about a cold take based on recent news about Unilever selling off Ben& Jerry's, which on the surface seems like a normal thing for companies to do, especially big conglomerates. They buy and sell divisions all the time. But this one kind of raised our eyebrows because Ben& Jerry's has a special place in Unilever's. And so, Ryan, tell me a little bit about what role Ben& Jerry's played when they were acquired by Unilever and why that seemed like such a good idea.
It's a case study we really love to use and something we really have loved to talk about because when Unilever acquired Ben& Jerry's, it seemed like such a big and bold statement of purpose. That agreement in and of itself was really legendary because it set up the acquisition while not taking any of the wins of social justice or just the brand conviction away from Ben& Jerry's. So Ben& Jerry's stayed intact as this convicted voice for change and great ice cream, and it managed to keep all that in place under the umbrella of this big conglomerate. And the effect it had on Unilever was amazing. It ended up leading Unilever to apply to be a B Corp, to really move towards being seen by the public as a more conscious organization. And it took this sort of what had been this huge umbrella of an organization and made it start to mean something or actually build trust with a consumer that was more into that purpose-driven thing and more paying attention than ever to the connection between different brands. And so there was a sort of a deep sorrow, I would say, within our team hearing this news and thinking, oh, is Unilever moving away from that socially conscious stance that they'd taken in the past?
It did feel that way. I mean, they had been setting up B corporations. They had been working to make their brands more purposeful. They had been doing things like taking a body spray brand, Axe, that certainly got a lot of criticism in past days by creating a sort of mythical image of spray it on and women are going to chase you down, which certainly takes away the agency from women. Sort of a weird premise. But even with that, they moved away to not telling those kind of stories for Axe body spray anymore. We saw a kinder, gentler, more purposeful, more thoughtful Unilever. It does feel like a bit of a betrayal. Do you think this is something that we're going to see a major trend of? Are corporations turning their back on purpose?
I think Unilever has said they're getting narrower and more focused in their product line, and that's the rationale behind it, not that Ben& Jerry's voice has been a bit of a thorn in their side. That's not what Unilever is saying. So I think we have to give Unilever credit for making smart business choices, hopefully that aren't moving away from corporate responsibility and social justice and all those beautiful things we had started to see from them. But I do think there is this overall question right now in the marketplace of, are brands a little bit more afraid than ever before to have a voice, to have a strong conviction and point of view? Are they quieting down in an environment where we may be more divided and more territorial and more skeptical than ever? What do you think about that, Kelly?
It's easy to wonder, and you should wonder, are we seeing that the brands that win are the ones that actually ignore beneficial values that are shared by their customers? But I think the evidence shows otherwise. We're still at a time when consumers want brands that they can patronize that share their values and that have values that they feel strongly about and will stand behind them and defend them. And some points of emphasis for me, if we look back a few years to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee for the NFL, Nike decided to stand behind Colin Kaepernick. And immediately there were threats of boycott. People were buying shoes and setting them on fire, which is a weird and strange thing to do. And Nike's stock did not go down. Nike's sales did not go down. Nike's value didn't go down. They stood their ground because they understood that they were making a decision based on conviction. And if you have conviction about something, you don't run in the other direction the first time trouble starts. In fact, that's how you know whether somebody has conviction. They doubled down on Kaepernick. Their stock went up, their sales went up, and their value went up in such a contrast to Bud Light with their controversy, who decided to cave in the first time trouble showed up when they supported Dylan Mulvaney. When she was given a six-pack of Bud Light, they very quickly turned tail and ran. They didn't just do that. They fired the two women executives who were involved in their marketing. department. And what did they get for it? They got lower sales. They got lower stock value. They lost people on the right and they lost people on the left because they didn't show any conviction. So, Ryan, I think we're seeing it today with the resignation of the CEO of Boeing. The companies that don't stand by their values, that are focused only on profits, that aren't focused on how they benefit the audiences that they serve, and they don't understand that they have a role, a responsibility to serve people in a beneficial way, they suffer.
I agree. I agree completely. And I think there's a takeaway here for businesses, which is having a voice in today's world where it is very divided, where it is very skeptical, where people are constantly digging into the meaning behind your voice or what you might have said or done that was right or wrong or otherwise. Having a loud voice and being a prominent part of culture means that there's ultimately going to be some moment of backlash. Somebody is going to push back on something you say. And in that moment, you need to be prepared. You need to know why your decisions are right, what your conviction is, and what you're backing up. And you need to know how you're going to buckle down and what you're going to buckle down on. Not to alienate anyone, not to make some sort of big splash, but to be true to who your brand is. And if you have in place the knowledge that that contingency is coming, that you can't be a loud voice in culture today and a leading brand, an iconic brand in our world without some sort of controversy, and you know how to deal with that controversy when it comes, you will ultimately be more successful from being convicted, from having purpose, from understanding why you exist in this world and what your voice needs to be. But you have to be prepared for what's about to come.
I guess that means our message to Unilever would be, guys, if you're making financial decisions that divest your business of things that are non-fits for who you are, that's not a bad idea. But if you're backing off on a movement that you've been making over the last several years to try and be more purpose-based, try and be more beneficial, try and be the guys who are doing the right thing as opposed to doing the wrong thing, then you're making a mistake and it's not too late to change your mind.
And Ben & Jerry's keep being you. You're the greatest brand. I've always loved you. So I hope you never change, or you change, but in all the right ways and not away from being such an amazing voice in the world.
It's really good ice cream too.
So good.
All right. This was a very cold take about Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Thank you for listening. And if you have comments on this, please let us know.